Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Speaking English. Today, we are not just going to read a story, we are going to live it. We are going to feel the salt on our skin, the pull of the fishing line, and the courage it takes to keep fighting when everything seems lost. Today's story is The Old Man and the Sea, one of the greatest novels ever written. By the end of this story, you will not only understand the plot, but also discover a life lesson that has inspired millions of people around the world. The story begins in a small fishing village, where an old fisherman named Santiago lives alone in a tiny, simple house. His wife has passed away, he has no children, and he owns very little. Years of working under the hot sun have left deep marks on his face and hands, but his eyes still shine with hope and determination. Santiago has spent almost his entire life on the sea, and he knows its waves, winds, and secrets better than anyone else. Even though he is old, his spirit is still strong, and he refuses to let age define him. For 84 long days, Santiago has not caught a single fish. Every morning he sails out before sunrise with hope in his heart, and every evening he returns with an empty boat. The other fishermen laugh at him and call him unlucky. Some even feel sorry for him, believing his best days are over. Even though he is old, his spirit is still strong, and he refuses to let age define him. For 84 long days, Santiago has not caught a single fish. Every morning he sails out before sunrise with hope in his heart, and every evening he returns with an empty boat. The other fishermen laugh at him and call him unlucky. Some even feel sorry for him, believing his best days are over. On the 85th morning, Santiago decides that this day will be different. Before the sun rises, he quietly rows his small boat farther into the sea than any other fisherman dares to go. He carefully watches the birds, studies the movement of the water, and trusts his years of experience. Deep inside, he feels that something extraordinary is waiting for him in the deep blue ocean. Suddenly, one of his fishing lines becomes tight with incredible force. Santiago immediately realizes that he has hooked an enormous fish unlike anything he has ever seen before. The powerful creature pulls his small boat farther and farther away from the shore. With bleeding hands and aching muscles, Santiago grips the line tightly, knowing that the greatest battle of his life has just begun. As night falls, the giant fish continues pulling Santiago's small boat deeper into the endless ocean. There is no land in sight, no other boats nearby, and no one to help him. Alone beneath the stars, the old fisherman talks to himself to stay focused and strong. He wishes Manolin were beside him to help carry the heavy line, bring him food, and share the burden of the struggle. His hands are cut and bleeding, his back aches with pain, and exhaustion slowly takes over his body. Even so, he refuses to release the line. Instead of hating the fish, Santiago begins to admire it. He calls it his brother because he respects its strength, courage, and determination. He knows that they are both fighters, each trying to survive, and he promises himself that he will never give up. When the sun rises the next morning, the enormous marlin finally comes close enough for Santiago to see it clearly. It is the biggest and most beautiful fish he has ever seen, longer than his own boat, with shining silver blue skin and incredible power. For a moment, the old man is amazed by its beauty and wonders if such a magnificent creature deserves to die. Still, he reminds himself that he is a fisherman, and catching fish is both his duty and his way of life. He patiently waits for the perfect opportunity while encouraging himself with thoughts of courage and determination. Another long day passes, and the battle continues. Santiago becomes weaker with every passing hour. To stay alive, he catches and eats small raw fish from the sea, even though they taste terrible. His hands continue to bleed, his muscles cramp, and black spots begin to appear before his eyes from exhaustion. Yet he refuses to surrender. Slowly, the giant marlin begins swimming in wide circles around the boat, growing weaker after its own long struggle. Santiago carefully pulls the line closer with every circle, using every bit of strength left in his body. Finally, after one last exhausting effort, the marlin comes close enough for Santiago to strike. Gathering all the strength he has left, he drives his harpoon deep into the fish's heart. The magnificent marlin rises out of the water one final time before collapsing into the sea. Santiago has finally won the greatest battle of his life. He feels proud of his incredible achievement, but at the same time, he is filled with sadness and respect for the noble creature he has defeated. Sitting quietly in his boat, he thanks the fish for its strength and sacrifice, knowing that this unforgettable battle has changed him forever. With the giant marlin tied securely alongside his small boat, Santiago begins the long journey back to his village. He dreams of the money the fish will bring and imagines the surprise on the faces of the other fishermen when they see the largest catch of his life. But his victory does not last long. The blood from the marlin spreads through the sea, attracting hungry sharks from every direction. The first shark attacks fiercely, and Santiago kills it with his harpoon, but not before it tears away a large piece of the marlin's flesh. Soon, more sharks arrive one after another. Although Santiago is exhausted, wounded, and completely alone, he refuses to surrender. He fights them with his knife, his oar, and even a wooden club after his weapons are destroyed. Despite his incredible courage, the sharks continue eating the marlin until almost nothing remains except its skeleton. Late that night, Santiago finally reaches the shore. Too tired to speak or even stand properly, he leaves his boat and slowly walks back to his tiny house. He collapses onto his bed and falls into a deep sleep. The next morning, the villagers gather around the boat and stare in amazement at the enormous skeleton of the marlin. Even though the fish has been stripped of its meat, everyone realizes it is the biggest fish ever caught in their village. Manolin rushes to Santiago's house, sees the deep cuts on the old man's hands, and begins to cry. He brings him hot coffee and promises that from now on he will fish with Santiago again, no matter what his parents say. At that moment, the boy understands that Santiago is not unlucky. He is one of the bravest fishermen he has ever known. When Santiago wakes up, he is weak but peaceful. He may have lost the fish, but he has not lost his courage, dignity, or honor. In his dreams, he once again sees the lions he admired as a young man on the beaches of Africa, symbols of strength, freedom, and hope. The story teaches us that true success is not measured by what we bring home, but by the courage we show during life's greatest struggles. Santiago proves that a person can lose everything and still remain victorious if they never give up. His journey reminds us that determination, resilience, and hope are far more valuable than any reward. Whenever life becomes difficult, remember the old fisherman who kept fighting until the very end. If you enjoyed this story and want to improve your English through more inspiring classics, don't forget to subscribe to Speaking English, turn on the notification bell, and share this video with your friends. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.